Hi, I'm Judith Leblein, and welcome to Conversations. I have the privilege and rare opportunity to speak to someone that I am sure you will readily recognize, someone very significant in the history of American life and culture, and that's Jackie O. The year, 1939.
Good afternoon, Miss Stringfellow. It's not at all fair that Miss Dumbarton sent me here. I confess that I stapled her coat to the wall, but only because of a horrific injustice that occurred. Right before recess, Elizabeth poked me really hard in the arm with her pencil. Look, there's a mark right here. Look, it's still bleeding a little. So naturally I screamed, and then Miss Dumbarton said that I had to stay in from recess and clean the blackboard, and Elizabeth got to go out and play. It was a travesty of justice, so I stapled her coat to the wall. Well, yes, I'll gladly unstaple her coat for her, but I don't think I should have to apologize. She constantly punishes me, and it's never, ever, ever my fault. Well, yes, of course I'll behave. I always do. Good afternoon, Miss Stringfellow.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline.
You're welcome.
I am fascinated with Jacqueline Kennedy as a child. There is a presumption that Jackie had a storybook childhood.
Not at all. She had a rough childhood. Her father was a raving alcoholic, womanizer. There were humiliation after humiliation occurred within that family, and the mother was very critical of her, and she had a really hard time. And she used to always say that she was going to run away and join the circus, which is why the play is called Cirque, Jacqueline, because she always wanted to escape somewhere else to get away from all the difficulties. And she got in trouble at school every single day. She got sent to the principal's office.
Well, that kind of childhood must explain the ability to be able to keep a public face when there may be a lot of pain.
Exactly, and that's why I called it that, because it's a through line of the whole thing, how she learned to cope with extreme situations very, very early on.
And what do you think was most significant, Jacqueline, in your childhood? Was it the relationship with your father?
Yes, the relationship with the father in spite of the problems between the father and the mother, was the most significant relationship. He adored Jackie.
And do you think that Jackie, in her own way, although we followed her through the years, seemed to want to shun that recognition that inside there may have been some person, that child, Jacqueline, who needed that attention?
Perhaps. I mean, her father gave her a message to always be very secretive about herself that she carried through her whole life. So there were things coming out of that kept going on and continuing.
Well, many families that do have secrets become masters at keeping those secrets.
Although I think it made her all the more alluring, but...
Perhaps the mystery.
Yes.
The mystery behind the smile.
But she did put out a very strong front. And just as in learning how to do that as a child, she did that throughout her life. And it was very different often than what was going on behind the scenes.
Very interesting to see Jacqueline, the child. Of course, my conversation can't be with Jackie O, but it is with Andrea Reese, who has written and performs Cirque, Jacqueline, which highlights several different phases of Jackie O's life. A woman that I, along with the rest of America, watched, a woman that influenced fashion and created the position or recreated the position of First Lady. And now for more of my conversation with Jackie O. It was early 1950s.
Nice to meet you, Jack. Well, actually, it's pronounced Jacqueline, French style. Jacqueline. Well, yes, that's perfect. Gosh, you sound so French. Perhaps I should call you Jacques. Have you been to Paris? Me? Oh, yes, twice. It's my favorite place. It's so romantic. And they have the best wine in the world. Oh, no thanks, there's still a little left in my glass. What's your favorite place in the world? Boston? Oh, well, yes, I've been there. It's so historic. Well, no, I don't exactly have a steady. I do date, of course, but I have to admit that what I love most is reading. Nothing thrills me more than a great book. Yes, that's right, nothing. Well, maybe a few things, but I'm not divulging those. This wine is going right to my head. I should leave. Au revoir, Jacques.
Oh, Andrea, that was lovely.
Thank you.
You know, America just was so enamored with the couple.
Yeah.
And the romance of it all. That moment, truly romantic, very flirtatious and almost aggressive.
Yeah, she was a very strong woman. She had a lot of men interested in her, but Jack was definitely the one that she was really interested in. Even before she met him, she'd heard about him.
So this was a chance meeting, but the thought had perhaps crossed her mind of this handsome young senator.
Well, it was kind of a chance meeting, but it was a kind of setup. It was at a friend's house.
I see.
And they wanted the two of them to meet.
There was an intention there of them to meet, and friends thought that perhaps it would click.
Absolutely, yes.
And was it instantaneous, do you think?
I think for Jackie, it was even before she met him was happening. But yes, I think Jackie was truly in love with him, and I think she felt it very, very quickly. He was so charismatic, as we all know, and he was very similar to her father. And I think there was a deep click that happened. Now with Jack, I think it was a little different. He had presidential ambitions, and was also looking for somebody that could fill the role of a ideal political wife. And I'm not sure that he was really deeply in love with her or with any woman, but I think that she was deeply in love with him.
People don't want to think in those terms, that that he may have been shopping for that first lady, perhaps, and not necessarily for a life mate or for a lover. Meeting the Kennedy family must have been equally as frightening and exciting at the same time. A legendary family, tight, close-knit family, something that really she didn't experience.
And it was also an extremely boisterous family. I mean, they played a lot of sports in the backyard. They played a lot of touch football. And at first, some of them teased her because they perceived her as a snob because she didn't participate in the same kinds of activities. I mean, she liked to read. She was educated, and she was very different from that family. I mean, they were kind of wild, actually.
So I could see where it, although opposites, they say, often attract, that could have been, you know, underlying through that whole relationship as well, because Jack was so influenced by that family. Do you think through the courtship in the early years that there was almost a sense that Jackie would have liked Jack to stand up for her and stand up perhaps against some of the advice of his father and brothers?
Well, a lot of times they were in sync in terms of advice. Joe Kennedy absolutely loved Jackie, and she loved him, and they had a really, really special bond. She spent a lot of time with him at the very end of his life, and so she was really in sync in terms of ideas a lot of the time. And she was very smart. I think she often advised Jack, and he respected her intelligence a great deal. Interesting,
her attraction to forming a relationship with yet another father figure. Very interesting.
Yeah, it made sense with what she grew up with. Her father was so charismatic. He was famous for his charisma.
In the research that you did they have fun, happy, private moments?
I think they did. I think that, although I said before that Jack, I don't think he was deeply in love with her, but I think he really enjoyed her and respected her. She had a wonderful, wonderful sense of humor. She was quirky, wacky, and they definitely had a lot of fun together.
Well, as you know, when you fall in love with someone, sometimes you overlook certain things. Do you think that Jackie always felt that Jack perhaps had a wandering eye and that she somehow could combat that?
Yes, definitely. That's what she grew up with. Her father was exactly the same. It disturbed her deeply, for sure, but it's what she thought men were. She didn't have other examples.
And perhaps somewhat challenging.
Very challenging and very painful to her, I'm sure.
Well, thank you.
I constantly have the same nightmare about Marilyn. She's up on a pedestal, framed by perfect clouds. And Jack is on his knees, worshiping her. And I'm wearing this awful brown maid's uniform. And every time Jack rings this little bell, I have to bring him a daiquiri on a silver platter. He doesn't ever look at me. He just reaches out his right arm and picks up the drink. She calls our private line constantly, begging to speak to him. I get so frustrated when he takes the call. I hide upstairs in the broom closet and just smoke piles of cigarettes. Last year, when Lee and I were on vacation, I told her I was leaving Jack for good. But then he called, said he missed me like crazy, in that voice of his. And I just melted. Damn, I'm sorry. The last thing I wanted to do was to cry about my own situation. Dad is just a typical husband, and you're about to throw away a perfectly good marriage, Joan. I've been losing sleep worrying that you'll do something you'll regret the rest of your life. I know it may not seem like it to you right now, but he really does love you. Don't leave him. Our husbands really do need us, Joan.
Wow. That is a very powerful piece, Andrea. Thank you for that. Jackie, glamorous, first lady, beautiful, emulated by most women in America. Fashion sense that set trends internationally. A president who often remarked that he was only on her arm with a broken heart.
That's right.
With a broken heart.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, even though she had a father like that, still she felt all the pain that anybody would. And in reality, she didn't really speak with Joan about it, but I wanted to show that side of her by having her creating her speaking with Joan and confiding in her.
Mm-hmm. It's only after both of their deaths, President Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe, that we really, as the public, there certainly were stories and rumors, but only until both were gone did we really understand what was happening and how difficult for Jackie. That hurt. Did she ever get over that?
I think that she had a distrust of men for a long, long time, and I think the person that really made that go away was her last love, Maurice Templesman. He became a true friend to her, and he was the person that showed her that men were not all like that.
And to think so public, you know, your piece very beautifully, you know, touches any woman or anyone who's ever been in love's and hurt heart, but to have to go through that so publicly. And Marilyn Monroe had no trouble with showing her public sense of affection, and that had to be so difficult, and also for the children and family members.
Yeah, and I think Jackie put on such a strong face. Honestly, I don't even know if her children growing up had any idea what was going on, because she protected them so well from everything, including that.
Although in your piece you mention about leaving a husband, and I would have left him, she would have never left him.
No.
There was no option for that.
She thought she was going to, but then she heard his voice saying he loved her, and roped her right back in.
And I think the public and the private Jackie must have struggled all the time, because the private Jackie, the wife with the broken heart, perhaps would have wanted to leave, but the public Jackie knew she could not.
Yeah, that's true. And I think even the private Jackie was emotionally deeply hooked into him, that she might have fooled herself into thinking, oh, that's it, I'm leaving, and she would have bursts of frustration, but underneath it all, she had a really strong connection to him.
And in your research, was President Kennedy, Jack, she called him, the kind of man that could have loved more than one woman?
I don't think he loved any women. I really don't. I just, his father was a complete womanizer. Her brothers were womanizers. I mean, it was a whole family of seeing women as objects and accessories. And he respected her. He liked her truly as a friend. He admired her. But I don't believe that he was capable of truly loving a woman.
And the elegant Jackie, the poised Jackie, it must have really hurt that other people knew, and the fact that perhaps around her people were talking, and that had to be difficult.
It was. I think it's particularly the Marilyn Monroe incident when she sang Happy Birthday at the convention to Jack. I think that was a complete public humiliation, and it probably mirrored for her when she was a child, when there was a famous photograph taken of her father holding hands with a woman he was having an affair with. And it was an extraordinary public humiliation, and it was just a repeat later with Jack and Marilyn.
Do you think she realized at the time how much the American public really identified and on the romantic side of the Kennedy saga really sided with her and empathized and sympathized with her? Do you think she knew that?
I think she did. She was very, very smart, very perceptive. And I think, although she did try to avoid the media, she was famous for that, I think there was a little part of her that flirted with the media.
Oh, I think if you see the old tapes, you know it very clearly.
Yeah,
and
she drew them in with her. She acted mysterious, but kind of drew them in.
I think one of the most charming first ladies, and one that, without overtly doing it, did control the media where it came to her and her children.
Yes.
And
yes.
the public image of those children.
Yes,
To
definitely.
her death. To her death.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jack. Jack. It's me, Jacqueline. Honey, can you hear me? Please say something. Honey, I need you. Everybody needs you. Keep fighting. Don't give up. Doctor, is there a chance? I heard you say resuscitation. Lost him. Lost him. Oh, my God. Jack. Oh, Jack. No. No, for God's sake, I don't need a tranquilizer. I've already seen the worst thing I could possibly see. No. No change of clothes. I want the world to see what they've done to my husband.
Oh my goodness, that was fabulous. Thank you for that. That was just heart-wrenching and so beautifully portrayed. Really, thank you so much for that, Andrea. That moment in history, people mark their lives by that moment in history.
Yeah.
People can tell you where they were, what they were doing, how their parents reacted, how how a country reacted. And what a responsibility for you to write this part of your one-woman show and then to perform it. What type of reactions do you get when you perform that particular piece?
I hear tissues being taken out of bags. I mean, I do. The theater is so silent right before that. I mean, in the play, you see it happening. I'm sitting in the car. I'm talking to him as we go through the motorcade, and then there's really loud gunfire sound, and then you see him falling forward. So it leads up to that, and that's really the climax of that section. And by then, the audience is just all broken up, usually.
Yeah. I think today, even today, when you see that film, or if you have the opportunity to go and visit the site, not only the thoughts about the president and the loss of a young, fabulous, interesting, charismatic, and perhaps we don't know what could have come from the continued presidency of JFK, but the thought of Jackie in that moment of horror, being so exposed, and once again, the private woman exposed to have to not even protect herself, which immediately went to try to hold and help her husband in a situation like that. Amazing strength of a woman.
Yeah, I mean, the way that she showed herself to the world is incredible. I mean, she certainly, of course, looked very upset to it all the time, but she really put a strong face to the world, out to the world, and I think a lot of people felt that she was their face of courage.
And the significance on the blood on the dress?
Because she didn't want to pretend, she wanted people to see exactly what happened. She wanted to say, this is what happened, and I don't want it to be immediately hidden away or glossed over. This is the reality of what just happened.
And being on Air Force One with Lyndon Johnson at the time that he is sworn in, again, another moment, a black and white snapshot for most of us, saying, why that? She did significant things that I think were just inborn in her character.
Well, she learned that really early on as a child. She survived such a difficult childhood, and she carried that strength with her through her life.
A real survivor to the end. Thank
Definitely.
you.
Dr. Agresti, I need you to be straight with me. Please just tell me everything you know, just as it stands. Yes, Maury is giving me the shots. Yes, he's doing fine. I feel like hell. I'm dizzy all the time and I can barely stand up without help. My whole body aches and I'm freezing. What are the results? My liver. Oh, God. I really thought it was going to work this time. No. No more chemotherapy. I just can't do it anymore. It's over. I'm going home. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, Andrea. Even at a moment like that, pride kicks in for Jackie.
Yes.
Strength kicks in for Jackie, and quiet resignation.
She had a great quote around that time. Of course, initially, when she found out about the lymphoma, she was devastated. But then she used to say to people, well, I've had a great run. Even though she was only 64, she sort of accepted that she had a full life.
I think the fact that she was calm and happy and with her family and found the love of a man, the devotion of a man who cared for her to the very end, I think was a comfort to a nation that still, no matter how many years went by, claimed Jackie as theirs.
It's true. And she said she spent a lot of time then with her children and grandchildren, and her children really were her greatest pleasure her entire life. So towards the end, everybody was around her.
And John and Carolyn being by her side. And,
yes.
The relationship with those children, Caroline and John, and grew, the fact that she got the chance to see them grow into such, responsible adults, responsible to the world adults, great source of pride and comfort for her.
It was her greatest source of pride. She had another famous quote, something to the effect that she said, if someone fails with their children, the most important thing is to succeed as a parent. And if they bungle that, then nothing else means anything.
Do you know, you have to mention in our conversation Aristotle Onassis.
Oh yeah, him.
Him. And I can remember angry, couldn't understand it, did not want her to go to another country, marry that man from Camelot to Aristotle, and many people felt that way. Later, as an adult woman learning more about Jackie, an awful lot of protection of the children was part of that relationship.
Yes, it was. And I remember the time when she was so criticized for that choice. But I understand why she did it. First, she saw Jack being killed in front of her and was extremely traumatized, much longer than I think people realize. Then Bobby, her best friend who supported her throughout that whole period, was assassinated. And it was just too much. I think she just completely, she said her number one concern was personal safety. And there's really no one else who could have provided her such a bubble of safety as Aristotle. on a ship in the middle of the ocean, surrounded
Absolutely.
by bodyguards. She went into sort of a little bubble of safety. And I completely understand why she did it. And
Yeah.
she even said that
The
he came
lioness
along.
taking care of her cubs.
Exactly, and herself too.
Yes.
And she said that Aristotle came along at a time when she needed him most.
Yes.
So in spite of himself, she really needed him then.
If you're just joining me, the conversation was not with Jackie O. It was with Andrea Reese. She not only performs in this one-woman play, but has written it. It's Cirque, Jacqueline, and you'll want to see it in its entirety. It was wonderful, Andrea. Not only a fabulous actress, but what possessed you to write? This is your first piece.
It is. I had been wanting to write a woman play for a while, and the person who suggested I write it about Jackie was Jim Simpson down at the Flea Theater. And when I started thinking about it, I'd been compared to her for years, and I started doing research and got really excited, and started to write it. And I was very lucky because as soon as I finished writing it, my absolute first choice director, Charles Messina, this brilliant, daring director who I knew was just right for the piece, read it, loved it, and agreed to do it. So everything just fell right into place.
Well, with us is Jim Davison, and he's the producer, and you are bringing it to a Central Jersey venue.
Right, it's the beginning of a tour we want to take to New England, and Friday, May 16th is the debut in New Jersey at the Crossroads Theater in New Brunswick.
And how did you meet Andrea?
Well, I met her through a good friend of mine, Joe Franklin from WOR, and he's helped me and Jack Rollins, Woody Allen's producer, working on a project, working with the estates of George Burns and other comedians like that. And we went to see Frank Gorshin do a similar show, and Joe said, I think you're going to enjoy this. And we went to see Andrea, and I just said, let's bring it back to Jersey and let's do something with it. It's a wonderful part of history that I've dealt with, and the entertainment business, but also a cultural impact. And Andrea's a fabulous actress. I think she's going places. So.
Just wonderful. Now, if people want to keep up on the show, maybe they don't get a chance to see it in the New Jersey venue, can they go to a website?
Yeah, she's got a website. It's www.jackieoshow.com, and it talks about her and the show and where it's going to be. So.
It's a piece of history that really needs to be seen, and we thank you for doing that. And the Jackie O glasses, will you please just, may I see you in the jacket?
Of course.
I have a pair of them. And
Not only will I put the glasses on, but I will wave at you.
oh, you are fabulous, and you brought your signature gloves,
I brought
too.
the gloves and everything. I just, just went all out.
You certainly did, and I thank you so much. And of course, I couldn't have had a conversation with Jackie O, but you may want to join Andrea Reese and see Cirque, Jacqueline, and see the phases of Jackie O's life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And it just goes to prove there's nothing like a good conversation.